F123 is best played using a steering wheel, for example like mine. Fine-tuning a wheel to your liking can often be daunting. So today I will give you all the information you need to start driving faster and comfortably in F123 with a wheel. Here we go. Let's start off with the control scheme. This is where you're able to map the buttons that are on your wheel to correspond with actions that happen in the game. For example, steering left and right, but also the brake pedal and throttle pedal. Before you map the buttons on your wheel manually, check if your wheel supports a standard button layout in F123. Logitech, Trustmaster and Fanatec wheels often have a standard button layout that automatically actually shows up right here. If this is not the case for your wheel, you'll have to use your keyboard for now to configure your wheel buttons, just for now only, and to map your buttons. Every wheel obviously has different placement for the buttons, but I have some recommendations for you. The buttons you can reach with your thumbs are actually the most important ones. These ones, for example. Try to make sure to map the overtake button, the look behind button, the pit limiter button and the DRS button on one of these ones. If your wheel has a joystick, like this one, then make sure to map the joystick so that you can navigate around the menu and the MFD as well. Mapping your buttons will be wheel specific, so you'll have to find your own preference by testing it out. However, just make sure you've mapped the navigational buttons for the MFD and the menu like I've said, so you can use your wheel to move around in the menus to make your keyboard obsolete. New in F123 is a dedicated button mapping for manual pit stops. Make sure you map this button as you'll have to push this button as well to turn into the pit box during a pit stop. An extra tip is to map MFD shortcuts if you have spare buttons on your wheel you're not using yet. You can map a shortcut to increase the ERS mode, the fuel mode, differential and brake bias. If you're a beginner, just focus on the ERS and fuel mode here, but if you're an expert, then you can also include the differential and brake bias shortcuts. But remember, only if you have some extra buttons left. Next up, we have the calibration of the wheel. The best thing to do is to calibrate your wheel within the dedicated software of the wheel itself. But if that still doesn't give you the results that you want, you can tweak them in the game here. The game explains exactly what every calibration setting does, so I won't go over them explicitly here. You only really have to calibrate your wheel in this section if you're not happy with how it feels on track. If it feels okay, then keep everything at 0. A common occurrence, however, that I've seen happen to some people is that they are getting brake input while not even pushing the brake pedals. If this is the case for you as well, up the brake dead zone by a bit and test it in a menu. If it still happens, up it by a little bit more and at some point it should not happen again. Now the most important feature of steering wheels is the vibration and force feedback. As the name implies, the wheel gives you feedback of your car on track with detailed forces going through the wheel so you can feel it. Now F1 cars run a maximum steering rotation of 360 degrees, which is like this. But as you can see on my side, I actually run 320, so it only goes up until this side. Now using 320 degrees allows me to be a little bit more responsive, but at a cost of being more precise. I found that 320 degrees of rotation is the sweet spot between responsiveness and precision. Never put your wheel rotation higher than 360 degrees. You can go all the way down to 300 degrees for maximum responsiveness, but I don't recommend going lower than that, even though it is possible in the game if you want to. In game, these are the settings that I run. It is recommended to not run your force feedback strength over 70% in the game, as this tends to actually lose details in the force feedback you get through the wheel. I recommend copying my settings and seeing if you like them. In terms of the settings within my wheelbase, I'm running 40% of overall feedback there, but every wheel has different maximum forces, so you might have to go and up the overall strength in your wheel software compared to mine. I use the SimiCube 2 Pro for anyone wondering, and it's a high-grade sim racing wheelbase, so it has a lot of forces. My personal preference is to turn down the drift setting within the wheel software itself in any wheel I have used before. Trustmaster, Fanatec and now the SimiCube. This means that the wheel doesn't have a strong tendency to drift back to the middle. So when you're driving like this, for example, and you let loose the wheel, it should slowly but surely go back to the middle, but it shouldn't like straight away with a huge spring go back to the middle. This causes the wheel to not uncontrollably shake, and you can even put your hands in the sky on the straights without an issue, as you can see in the background right now. Now after following these tips and tricks and settings, you are now a pro wheel driver. Don't forget to check out my other F123 guides, and if it helped you in any way, make sure you like and subscribe. Peace!